Hello guys, welcome to another video. Now you'll have to excuse the headphones for this video because this is the first video that I've done using my brand new Asus. So I tested with it, like the camera and everything, and for some reason, I have no idea why, but the mic, at least on the camera, is just not good at all really. So I've had to use my headphone mic. Which seems to be fine, so hopefully you can hear me fine, but you'll just have to excuse the look. For this one, now what I'm going to be doing today is, well, these two videos are going to be very similar to my pre-2016 season discussion, 2016 Formula 1 season, in which I had to split it into two parts because they were both really long. But basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about the first half of the 2016 season, about like how the teams and drivers have done and whether my predictions were correct or not, basically. So yes, it's going to be quite similar in that way to my pre-2016 season discussion videos. But anyway, yes, so hopefully you'll enjoy this. So, first of all, the 2016 season has been very mixed, I'd say. It's been good. It's been very good. The races, I'd say the races up till Monaco were very, very good. Australia, Bahrain, China, Russia, Spain especially, and Monaco, they were all fantastic, really. But after that, apart from Austria, they just haven't been that good, actually. I seem to recall, Hungary was especially boring, and Baku. And yeah, since Monaco, they just haven't really been that good. So yeah, it's been a mixed bag in terms of the races, but we have had some good races. So yeah, I'd say it hasn't been as good as I expected it to be, but it's been good nonetheless. It's definitely been, so far, on the whole, I'd say more exciting than last year, but that's just my opinion. Right, so I'm going to run through the teams and drivers. For this part one, I'm probably going to talk about Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Williams, and Force India, maybe Renault as well, and then I'll talk about the rest of the teams and drivers in part two, similar to what I did, as I say, in my previous videos. So, let's get cracking. Now, Mercedes. Well, as expected, they've pulled away again. They've won every race bar one so far, and the only reason they didn't win that one race was, well, I'm sure you all saw it. I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, it's been pretty faultless, I'd say. I mean, Nico Rosberg won the first four races in the season because Lewis Hamilton had quite a few problems in the first four races. He had reliability issues. And yeah, I think that was just it, reliability issues, and that meant that he couldn't really keep up with Nico Rosberg, which allowed Nico Rosberg to pull away and win the first four races. But after that Rosberg, four-win streak, Lewis Hamilton then got, I'm trying to remember, so obviously, well, let's talk about Spain first, shall we? Spain was horrible for Mercedes because on the first lap, well, first of all, they both, off the line, Nico Rosberg got a slightly better start, and that allowed him to overtake Lewis Hamilton around the outside into turn one. Once they got through turn three, Nico Rosberg engine went into like a power saving mode because he had selected a wrong switch, I believe, which meant that the engine was harvesting power. So basically what that meant was he lost power going through turn three. That allowed Lewis Hamilton to get a fantastic run on Nico Rosberg. Now, I'm trying to remember what happened. I think what happened was Nico Rosberg was sort of like in the middle of the track at that point. So Lewis Hamilton decided to go through the inside, and as he was going to the inside, Nico Rosberg then went into the inside as well. And that meant that Lewis Hamilton went onto the grass, he spun, hit Rosberg, and they were both out. Now, for someone who loves Ferrari, at that moment I was just ecstatic because basically that meant that we weren't going to see a Mercedes on the podium for once, which was amazing, for me anyway. But yeah, So after that appalling race, Lewis won in Monaco, Canada. Nico then got one more win in Baku, but that was again because Lewis Hamilton had some sort of engine problem. I think it was like an engine problem or something. So Nico won there, but then Hamilton came back and won in Austria, Silverstone, Hungary, and Germany. So Lewis Hamilton's going on a bit of a streak at the moment, a winning streak. And yeah, I think it's been a good season for the pair of them. Slightly better for Lewis much better for Lewis in the second half, and much better for Nico in the first half. So when we come back to Spa, when the second half starts, it should be interesting to see what happens. It's been a pretty good season. Well, no, it's been a very, very good season for Mercedes so far. They've pulled away again, as we all expected. Let's be honest. So, yeah, that's pretty much Mercedes done. Well, not really. I mean, Mercedes have their drivers have come together quite often this season. Actually, in Australia, in the first corner, Nico Rosberg pushed Lewis Hamilton wide. Trying to remember, obviously in Spain they had that crash. In Canada, in the first corner, Lewis Hamilton pushed Nico Rosberg wide. And then in Austria was definitely a massive talking point because it was on the last lap and they came together on the last lap into the second corner. You can imagine Toto Wolff wasn't very happy about that. But yeah, apart from that, it's been pretty good. So, that's Mercedes done. Let's move on to Ferrari. I think disappointing is the word to sum up their season so far. I mean, going into it, we were all hoping and expecting them to offer such a big challenge to Mercedes, and they just haven't been there really at all. For someone who loves Ferrari like me, it's just really, really sad to see, actually. There's been a lot of bad luck involved, but fundamentally the pace just isn't really there. On a couple of tracks it has been close, but not close enough. Red Bull have actually been ahead in quite a few races. When it came to the first race in Australia, obviously Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen got so much more better starts than the Mercedes pair, so into the first corner they were in the lead, and at that point I was like, yes, we're going to have a fantastic season for Ferrari. I think it was in the middle of the race when Fernando Alonso had that crash. They made, for Sebastian Vettel, a horrible strategy call. I think, I could be wrong. And that basically cost him the race. And then Kimi Raikkonen retired because he had an engine blow up, I think, or a fire in the airbox, I think it was, actually. I think just overall, bad luck's just been the main factor. In China, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen came together in the first corner. I seem to recall Kimi Raikkonen blamed it heavily on Daniel Kvyat. I think he just blamed it on Daniel Kvyat. I don't think Daniel Kvyat was necessarily to blame, but still, he did have a little bit of a factor into it. In Russia, Daniel Kvyat and Sebastian Vettel came together again. This time, Daniel Kvyat spun Sebastian Vettel into the barrier into turn 3. So, that wasn't good. I think just overall it's just been a lot of bad luck involved, but fundamentally they haven't had the pace either. In terms of the drivers, as expected, Sebastian Vettel has been ahead of Kimi. Well, actually, Kimi Raikkonen has definitely improved this season, I'd say. And thanks to this, he actually now has a seat for next year as well. We all thought, or I thought at least, that he would be retiring at the end of the season, but he has now got a seat for next year too. So they've extended his contract. Kimi Raikkonen has improved this season, but Sebastian Vettel's still been ahead most of the time. But Kimi Raikkonen has outqualified him a little bit and outperformed him sometimes as well, which is surprising, I'd say. I definitely didn't expect that. I think just overall, it's just been disappointing. Nowhere near as quick as we thought they were going to be, which, as I've already said, was a little bit sad to see, but sometimes that's how it goes in Formula 1. You just never know really what's going to happen, unless you're Mercedes, but yeah, anything can happen, and unfortunately, it's just gone the wrong way for Ferrari. And I really hope they can improve for the second half of the season because so far they haven't won a race. And at this point, last year they'd won 2 races, so it's definitely not been as good. But yeah, that's Ferrari done. Let's move on to Williams. It's been that was somewhat Williams season. I wouldn't say it's been bad, but it's not been fantastic in any sense, I'd say. They have scored constant points, to be fair, but they just haven't been, as close to Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes as they have been in the past. As I say, I did say that I thought they were going to fall back to fourth, and they are currently fourth in the championship. Because I just think, the development of the car just hasn't been anywhere near as quick as Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes. So they just haven't been able to keep up with pace. So yeah, and Force India are catching them because I seem to recall I said Force India would finish ahead of Williams. They are catching them slowly, so they could still, but my predictions could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, it just hasn't been good really for Williams this season, as I expected. So I haven't really got much more to say for Williams. Drivers, as I expected, it's been closely matched between Bottas and Massa. Yeah, it's been closely matched. I haven't really got much to say about Williams, to be honest. Just one more thing. There's been rumours that Jenson Button could be going to Williams to replace Felipe Massa. And do I think that's going to happen? Well, it could, but to be honest, I'd be surprised if it did because I think Jenson Button has lost a bit of motivation in the sport, and I think Felipe Massa's most likely to retire at the end of the season. So yeah, I think, well, if Massa's retiring this season, then they're going to have to find someone to replace him. So yeah, if Jenson Button takes that seat, I'll be surprised, but there's been rumours, so it could happen. Right. We'll talk about Red Bull next. Red Bull. I was so wrong with my prediction about Red Bull because I remember saying it was going to be a horrible season for them. And so far, they're the only team other than Mercedes to win a race. They've scored much more podiums they've been more consistent than Ferrari, and they're currently second in the championship. I was wrong, wasn't I? No, it's definitely been better than 2015. A lot better. But I think the main thing we need to talk about is Max Verstappen and Daniel Kvyat. So, Daniel Kvyat, you've got to feel sorry for the guy. I mean, you have to. I mean, I saw in his Germany post-qualifying interview where, excuse me, when he finished 19th, I think it was, he just looked so depressed and down and sad, and he just looked like he'd lost all motivation and confidence in himself. And you have to feel sorry for the guy because, in 2015 he got promoted to Red Bull. Red Bull have faith in him, and at that stage he was very confident. He didn't do so well at the start, but I think it was Monaco onwards he did, gradually improve. And at the end of the season he finished ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Coming into this season, I expected him to do even better. And from what I recall, he didn't do awfully, but definitely not as good as Daniel Ricciardo. And obviously in Russia, he hit Sebastian Vettel twice, which then made Sebastian Vettel, he basically crashed out Sebastian Vettel. And at that point, it wasn't looking great for him. But yeah, when the news came about that he had been kicked out and Max Verstappen had been brought in, we were all very, very surprised. I was shocked, quite frankly. But yeah, I mean, Max Verstappen is a massive, massive, massive talent. And, you know, Red Bull obviously wanted to get him into the main team as soon as possible because they want to win championships. And I think Max Verstappen is more than capable of winning championships. But yeah, I can't help feeling that they were just waiting for. I mean, I know I'm more than likely wrong, but I do feel like Red Bull were just waiting for an excuse to bring him in, if you get what I mean. I seem to recall they said the reason they did this was to protect Daniel Kvyat's career. I'm sorry, but how the hell is that protecting his career by demoting him to the secondary team where he's actually now very likely to be replaced? How is that protecting his career, Red Bull? I mean, you've basically pushed him out of the sport because I doubt he's going to get another seat. Because he's struggled at Toro Rosso. He's definitely struggled. He hasn't done anywhere near as well as Carlos Sainz. And, I mean, yeah, because of that, he's now likely to be kicked out. And someone else bought in, I'm not sure who, will be brought in as a replacement. But Red Bull have got a lot of young drivers waiting in the wings. So yeah, I can't help but feel like it's over for Daniel Kvyat. But anyway, moving on from that. Yeah, obviously in Spain they got a win thanks to Mercedes' double retirement. And yeah, I mean Daniel Ricciardo very, very nearly won in Monaco, and I seem to recall the only reason he didn't win was because, again, a strategy call. It seems to be for Ferrari and Red Bull, whenever they don't win, it's always down to strategy calls. I don't know why, it just is. I mean, they're sometimes they're on pace, but then they make a wrong call and then Mercedes win. I don't know, but yeah, overall, I was very wrong about my prediction. I think Red Bull have definitely shown us that they are still very, very near to the top. And yeah, I think that's it really. I think this video might actually be into 3 parts now because this has gone on for 17.5 minutes. So yeah, I think actually what I'll do is I'll end this one here and then I'll upload maybe 2 more parts. I think that might be a better idea. Yeah, I think I'll do that. But yeah, so to summarise, Mercedes have definitely had the best season, won all but one race. Ferrari have been disappointing. Williams have just really haven't been there at all, and Red Bull have surprised me. Yeah, that's it pretty much. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.